I've got to tell you about the most important thing I ever discovered from research, real life research, from about 20 years of teaching in a classroom. When you teach for a long time, the only way you can do it is if you have a long-term perspective on what you're doing. Otherwise, the daily frustrations can just make you be like, I'm out of this. Like, this is preposterous. I can't deal with this one kid doing this same thing 5 days a week all year long. Like, I can't do that. It's similar to parenting. If you don't have a long-term kind of end game kind of plan, it's really difficult to stay in the grind of it. So I want to tell you about this lesson that I learned from personal research and discovery of watching, not just watching students from the youngest of ages through graduation and beyond, but watching families and how they progress over time. So when you're teaching kids in a classroom, when you have those moments where you pause for what you could call a magical moment, a transformative moment where you teach something that has so much more to do with the heart and real life than it does about, oh, here's this information for a quiz you're studying. In those moments, you look around the classroom and you see what eyes you have, what people are focused in on what you're talking about. Frankly, the kids that were sometimes most difficult to reach were the kids that had the most going for them. Like if a kid was really athletic and really good looking and really popular, when you spoke about deep things, sometimes it was hard to draw them in. Because, listen, kids are just like adults. And when we have a comfort zone of success in our life, we're not very open to anything. That's how we are as humans. So every now and then I would notice, I would have a classroom and there's a kid in the class that's popular, good looking, successful at sports, just have a lot going for them. And I would find myself noticing that kid, when I talk about serious life things, they stayed engaged. They were locked in. They were curious. They wanted to know. And I thought to myself, what's wrong with that human? Don't they know that they're popular and good looking and good at sports? Like, they're not supposed to need this information. They have everything. They're supposed to have a comfort zone. When I had those students, I always kind of watched their life. I watched their family. I normally interviewed their family just to kind of say, what's life look like for you? What is your principles, your guiding principles for how you raise your kids? What do you guys do? When I interviewed those families, there was a very common thread. And if you're raising kids, I need you to hear this. You must hear this. There's a very common thread in their story. They would say something like this. Once a year, we take a missions trip and we go to some country and of course, oftentimes they see hurting people that are very poor, that live in huts and whatnot. Another family said, once a month we go under this bridge in our city where we hand out blankets to homeless people. Another family said, once a month we go to a horse farm and we help disabled children ride ponies. Stories like that were always involved in the stories of those families where those kids, I would say it like this, those kids that had vision. Because we as humans, it's very easy for us to get stuck inside of the small fence of our own life. A kid can just think about, oh, look at these shoes I have. Oh, when is my next game? Oh, when's my next new shopping venture for my outfit? Oh, do people like me? Oh, do I have the newest phone? And listen, humans can't have vision unless they see something. It's so easy for us to be stuck in our tiny world. And for our kids to be successful and prepared for life, they're going to have a vision for life and what they can be in it. And their vision has to be beyond, do I have the newest fad of shoes and the most updated technology. In order for kids to have vision, they must get to see something first. So that is that common denominator of these families that were raising kids that had vision that was beyond themselves. Was they did things like that, a missions trip, helping the homeless, helping hurting children ride ponies. And there's so many opportunities out there like that. It probably is the single greatest thing that you can do for and with your kids. Help them see something so that they have vision.